Welcome to Manga Mac News, the news that interests us and we think should interest you. This is news for the week of October 4th, and we have some sad bit of news. The creator of GOLGO 13, TAKEO Saito, has passed away at age 84 from pancreatic cancer. He passed away on September 24th. TAKEO Saito is a manga legend. He was a manga artist who led the charge in the Gekiga movement of manga. It was kind of an opposing style to what Osamu Tezuka, the god of manga, was known for more children's manga. And TAKEO Saito wanted to create more theatrical dramatic pieces like you had in movies for older audiences. And yeah, it's GOLGO 13, which is a manga, probably one of the longest running manga at this point. He launched it in 1968, and it was still ongoing. He was still drawing manga up to his death. So, sorry, Morgana, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's impressive, but I wonder if I should be impressed or a little bit like, man, just retire and rest. you know.
Well, the interesting thing about him drawing manga is that I don't know if you saw the Manga episode that dealt with him, but he's basically just the front runner or the face of the comic. It is written and primarily drawn by a team, which I think is really interesting because GOLGO 13 for a while now has been adapted into basically just like a media franchise. And it's not like a traditional manga with a mangaka, and mangaka might have various assistants and stuff. It's not really that. It's more like a team of people who shepherd the franchise, and writers write the story, and then a group of artists draw it, and he's still involved in the day-to-day drawing because it was his job to actually draw GOLGO 13's face. He always drew his face, the distinct eyebrows and that scowl. It was always Takeo Saito's brush that was drawing that. So it is still just a very sad thing, even if you're applying kind of the romanticized idea of an artist and his manga and the manga belonging to him. I mean, it really did belong to him in many ways because he was involved and he would he had the final say in the stories and stuff. So if something was drawn in a certain way and he didn't like it, he'd tell him to redraw it basically. But yeah, it's a huge loss, and it's also it's a very interesting footnote in manga history how GOLGO 13 was adapted into just a very different workflow, very different work style than the typical manga serialization has.
Yeah, and that's interesting too because he's passed away now. Obviously, usually when a creator passes away, that's it. But because of the nature of this, I wonder if they're going to continue GOLGO 13.
They have announced, Shogakukan that put out the announcement of Takeo Saito's death, said that before his death, Saito wanted the manga to continue without him through his production company and the artists who work there.
It's going to just keep going and going and going forever.
I mean, you want to kind of look at it as James Bond.
Right,
kind of similar setup, master assassin, spy type situation, and you can just put that character in anything.
Yeah, definitely. There's a long running appeal with that kind of story, that kind of character.
He could go anywhere and punch women anywhere.
Oh my gosh! Listen to our podcast episode on GOLGO 13.
Yeah, I've actually never read it myself.
So some of the stuff is a little bit rough around the edges. Doesn't really hold up nowadays.
Yeah, luckily, as the times progressed, they adjusted those stories.
Yeah, I mean the character, the art, just the concept. It's an absolute legend of manga. And even a lot of Western nerds who play video games know it for Duke Togo, for the video game that came out. So it has reach. People know of it.
Ryan, aka Rush, asked me yesterday what I thought about them continuing his work past his death, And especially because this was like Saito's wish himself that he wanted to continue, I think that's fine. And you have other things like the Doraemon franchise. Fujiko F. Fujio passed away a long time ago, and they still continue to put out new Doraemon stories, and they're treating it with such care and respect, right? That I'm okay with like new Doraemon stuff. I guess if they say they want to continue Berserk after Kentaro Miura's death this year, like I might have a question mark for that. I'm not sure if he was able to, like, his death was so sudden. I don't know if they got any kind of consent to continue it, if he even left like ideas or storyboards for like where the story was supposed to go. That was really not like close to being done, I feel. So
I personally, and this is just a gut check, like I don't have really deep thoughts about this, but I have no problem with his assistants and the people he's worked with all these years, like continuing the story. It's in large part their story too. Like they weren't the original creators and the main mangaka, but like they worked on it for years, and I think if it's a situation where they're really just, they don't have any plot details, they don't have any wishes from the original creator, then they should just like reboot it and just like call it something different, like so that just make it obvious that this is Berserk by the same team, but like it's being taken a different direction because they don't have the original shepherd anymore.
Yeah, it's harder with Berserk because with GOLGO 13, obviously, like it was all episodic, right? It's easier to just take the character Duke Togo, put him in like a scenario. Same thing with Doraemon too. Like it doesn't. It's more episodic, the stories that you can create around that. But when it's a direct narrative that's been going on so long as Berserk has, I feel more weird about it.
And also, here in the case of GOLGO 13, we have the express desire of the creator to continue it. Yeah. In the case of Berserk, we don't have that, or we don't necessarily know if we have that, and to continue the manga without him and without knowing whether we have his consent, almost it could appear like a cash grab. Like I don't think it would be. I think everybody's very sad about his death, and I think that if his assistants wanted to continue, that's a nice thing to do. I think keeping the spirit of it and moving on with it is not necessarily a bad thing. But I could definitely see where it could be a PR issue, like, right. Oh, we're just gonna keep going with this even though this beloved creator has died. And he, I haven't read Berserk, but from what I understand, it's very unique, in a lot of ways, and it's hard to replicate the work of somebody who had a very specific idea and had desires for his characters and things like that.
Yeah, but at least with the GOLGO 13 franchise, we knew it was Takeo Saito's wish. So yeah, it will continue past his death. It's like there's so much, like he's not just the creator of GOLGO 13. I mentioned at the beginning, like he really led the charge for the Gekiga movement, and such an important figure in the manga industry. But 84, that's a long life too. So
yeah, and we're at a point where we are losing a lot of legends in the industry who have had the benefit of leading long and fruitful lives and having long careers.
And people from that era too.
Yeah, so
the 50s, 60s manga initial start.
Yeah, if he was kind of morbid, but it to hear he died at 84 actually makes me happy, and not hear that he died at 50. Right.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these old school creators just really worked themselves to the bone.
Yep, there are still creators, modern creators, who have died at 50, 40, and it's really sad, overwork. So yeah,
I think he enjoyed his work, and I think I hope he enjoyed his life.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he had a good thing going. He was able to continue working into old age without taxing himself, right? It doesn't sound like he had, not that he didn't work hard, but that he didn't overdo it. And he has a company, assistants and people who understand the work and understand his ideas and his vision and his desires, and has a beloved character and franchise. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely. Yes, rest in peace, Takeo Saito. Thank you for your hard work. And that's it for this week's news. We're going to keep it simple and short. Beep 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 beep. Bye.
ここ衝撃的映像これ。これすごいですね。
これはね、
これすごいですね。
もう昔から小さいとこね、乾かすのドライヤーなんかすごってならないからタバコが一番いい。